You know, Sheikh Yousef, people today say we don't need God anymore. Science explains everything. We understand how the universe began, how life evolved, how diseases are cured. So, doesn't that mean religion is just an old story we have outgrown? That is an interesting question, Charlie. Well, let me ask you something first. Does science really explain everything? Or does it only explain how things happen, not why they happen? Well, science shows us how the world works, right? So, why do we need God to explain it? Exactly. Science shows us how. It describes the process, not the purpose. When you see a book, science can tell you what kind of ink and paper were used, but it cannot tell you who wrote the story or why it was written. That is the difference between science and faith. Science explains the mechanism, but faith explains the meaning. But if we can explain the universe through physics, then maybe it just happened naturally without any creator. Let's think logically. If everything just happened, then you're saying that nothing created something. That is not science, that is magic. Even science itself is built on laws, the gravity, energy, motion, but laws can't create themselves. They point to a lawgiver, as Allah says in the Quran. Were they created by nothing, or were they themselves the creators? Science shows how creation works. Revelation shows who made it work. But scientists can create life in a lab now. Doesn't that make us creators too? That is like saying you created fire because you lit a match. You only used the materials and laws that were already there. Even your mind, the very thing that thinks, was made by you. When you manipulate what Allah created, that is not creation, that is imitation. And imitation only proves the greatness of the original. So you're saying science doesn't replace God, it actually reveals Him. Exactly. The deeper we go into science, the more design we see. The Quran says, we'll show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Science doesn't disprove God, it points directly to Him for those who reflect. You know what, Sheikh Yusuf? I think I just discovered something new. Science tells us how the universe works, but faith tells us why it exists at all. Exactly, Charlie. And once you know why, you finally understand who.